very small word. 3 letters, 3 little letters. But it means not part, not a little bit, not just a portion, not just a section. It means all, total, all. And when we think of that, that is what Jesus teaches us today when Jesus gives us the law. What is the whole law? What is the total law? Not what is a portion of it, not what is part of it, but what is all of the law. Love the Lord your God with all your mind, all your soul, and all your heart. All, totally, completely. And Jesus gives that to us not as a suggestion that would be nice for us to follow this week, but Jesus gives it to us as a command, as an imperative. This is who we are to be, loving people with all of our hearts, all of our mind, and all of our spirit. Now, what would our world look like if we did that? What effect would that have on our daily life if we did this with totality? If we loved God and we loved our neighbor as ourselves? What would it look like? What changes would it mean in our family, in our community, in our schools, in our nation, in our world? Just imagine that. Let your imagination go wild for a while. And just think of the possibilities. And this is what Jesus wants us to do. So Jesus wants us to love with all our hearts. In our heart, we know that's the lifeblood of our system. It's the thing that keeps everything going. It takes in and it gives out. And we are asked then to allow our hearts to be aligned with the very heart of God, so that everything that we take into our lives and everything that we get out is totally directed and aligned with God's will and God's intention. We are called to love with all of our spirit, all of our soul, the very gut level of your life. What's in your spirit? What is the spirit that motivates you in all of your actions, in all of your words? What motivates you every single day when you get up in the morning until you go to bed? What is the motivation of your life? Is it the Spirit of God that empowers you and enables you and ennobles your life so that when you're out there in this world, when you walk through the doors of your home, when you're here in church, that it's that love of God that enables your soul and your spirit to resonate with that power of God? And then finally, we're supposed to love with all of our mind. It's easy to love with feeling, isn't it? I feel good this day, so I kind of love you today. But I don't feel this way, so I'm not sure if I'm going to love you tomorrow. That goes on in families, relationships, all the time. But love is an act of the will. It's an act of the mind. I'm supposed to love all as God loves. That means I have to wish the good of every single person. Every single one that I meet, I have to wish good. So if I'm going to be a follower of Jesus, if I'm going to be empowered by the Spirit, if I'm going to let my heart work the way it's supposed to, then every single person has to be included in that. We have to be careful sometimes that we just don't love those things that make us feel good, because feelings change. But the act of the will, God never gave up or turned God's back on any of us, no matter what we've done in our lives. And finally, we're called to love our neighbor. What would that mean? Who would be our neighbor? Who would be the neighbor we meet tomorrow? Maybe it's not somebody on the usual path of our life. Every day we have a routine. We go through that routine. We get up. We see the same people. We go to work. We see the same people. We see most of the people at the store, the same people. What would it mean if we diverted off the normal path? Who would our neighbor be? Jesus says there's no distinction. There's no distinction whether they're rich or poor, whether they're black or white or green or purple. Whether, no matter what, whether they're intelligent or not intelligent, whether they're morally right or morally wrong, God loves them all. And Jesus says this whole law, all of this, hangs on the law of the prophet. It doesn't hang on a clothesline or a bird feeder. It hangs on a cross. It hangs on a cross to remind us of what we're called to do. So I would remind you this week that as we try to live out that commitment with all of our minds and hearts and spirits, that we do so in the right way. If we do that, we will continue to grow in love, and that love will just encompass all